I'm going to return to my people and report this to them. But she was only telling them half the story. What she didn't tell the Williams family was that she was starting to have some suspicions. Seeing someone that impressive in a public place like this could be a sign that there was something bigger going on, and she wanted to find out what it was. She walked out of the room without waiting for Randall to reply. A nurse who had heard all the commotion ran into the room. When she saw the mess and the hole in the wall, she was stunned. "What's going on here? Are you visitors or a demolition crew?" The nurse was very upset by their behavior. "I'm sorry, nurse. Our family will compensate you for any damages." Thomas took a deep breath and tried to calm himself. The nurse was more concerned about Grandpa Williams, though. Repairing the room wasn't in her job description. She looked Thomas in the eye and reminded him, "We need to know who's been chosen to provide the blood transfusion. Our specialists have informed me that it must be done no later than tomorrow." "You can rest assured that we've made our decision. Please, make the necessary arrangements for my father." Thomas sighed as he looked over at his father lying helplessly in the hospital bed. Laura tried to speak, but she just couldn't find the words. Now that Kevin had been taken away, Thomas and Ethan were the only ones left who could provide a transfusion for Grandpa Williams. But she didn't object because she was trying to keep a low profile. Ethan looked incredibly depressed. He knew that he couldn't run away from this, but he also wasn't sure if he would survive the procedure. This wasn't even a regular blood transfusion. From what the nurse had explained, it would be an incredible stress on his body, with possible long-term effects. As he lay there on the bed, Grandpa Williams was very conflicted. He knew that he should be furious at Dalton for his interference, but when he saw Kevin's mentor defeat Ariana so effortlessly, he regretted his behavior. "If I'd known that there was such a strong man behind Kevin, I'd have kept him in the Williams family, no matter what he did," Grandpa thought to himself. The Night King had such absolute strength that they couldn't resist him. Did the Williams family have any hope at all? Grandpa Williams was sure that the relationship between his family and Kevin was damaged beyond repair. No matter how much he regretted his behavior, he didn't see a way out. In Dalton's mansion, the Night King was bent over his patient. Kevin and the rest of the Steele family stood outside the door, unable to see exactly what the Night King was doing. Miranda's eyes were red and swollen from all of her crying. She'd been crying for nearly 3 hours, ever since Kevin had appeared in their home with his injured friend. But before they could find out just what had happened, they saw Dalton lying there, with his life hanging by a thread. Then the Night King asked for an empty room and took Dalton in for treatment. Kevin kept pacing the floor. He was anxious, but he knew that Dalton was better off there being treated by the Night King than at the hospital itself. He knew that Miranda and Dalton's grandfather Norman didn't blame him, but he still felt guilty about the whole situation. If it wasn't for him, Dalton wouldn't have had a quarrel with the Williams family at all, and he wouldn't be lying there fighting for his life. "Kevin, listen to me. If my cousin has any problems, we will never forgive you for it," Rayne said to him coldly. "Yes, that's right. You're nothing but trouble. Dalton's had nothing but problems ever since he met you. I think you're a jinx." Blanca growled at Kevin. "Because of you, the Jones family's on the verge of bankruptcy. Your wife was seriously injured not long ago, and my cousin was almost permanently disabled thanks to you. And now he's half dead. If my cousin can't be saved, I'll make sure they bury you with him." Rayne was seething with anger. Kevin leaned back against the wall, lowered his head, and said nothing. It was because of him that Dalton had been injured. No matter how harsh Rayne and Blanca were being toward him, he didn't disagree, and he let them keep venting their frustration. "That's enough, you two. Shut up." Norman Steele glared glumly at the two sisters. "Grandpa, why are you still protecting this?" Rayne asked in surprise. "If it wasn't for the bad luck Kevin's brought us, my cousin wouldn't be like this. I have no idea how he can be saved," Blanca said as her voice got choked up. "Grandpa, why don't we just take him to the hospital? That man who's in the room with Dalton is already delayed getting medical treatment." "I told you both to shut up. Didn't you hear me?" Norman interrupted Blanca before she could finish her tirade. "What's the use of going to the hospital? Can any of those quacks be as skilled as the man who's working on Dalton right now? Norman growled bitterly. In his opinion, since Kevin had called the Night King, it was certain that he was no amateur and he would surely be able to save his grandson. Miranda stood silently at the door, looking absolutely despondent. Everyone could feel that she was on the verge of a collapse. Suddenly, the Night King opened the door and walked out. Several people hurriedly gathered around him to inquire about the situation. The blow was extremely powerful and very precise. It bruised Dalton's heart. If Kevin hadn't started to apply first aid at the risk of being attacked himself, the young man would have certainly died. The Night King could tell that the family was already exhausted, so he explained what he'd done so they could be reassured. I gave him some medication that will help his heart. He's already responding very well. Fortunately, he was in excellent shape to begin with, especially since he'd recently taken the restoration pill. His life is no longer in danger, but he needs one more thing if he's going to completely recover. What is it? I'll find it right away. Kevin immediately offered his help. The Night King's explanation had definitely given them hope and eased their anxiety. Miranda was finally breathing normally now. I like your positive attitude, but it's not going to be as easy as you think. The Night King looked Kevin in the eyes with a very solemn expression. Norman Steele was resolved to help his grandson. No matter how hard it is to find, even if it drives us to exhaustion, my family will find it and get it for you. I need a rare plant that has been infused with gold, the Night King announced to them. Great! Where in the world were they going to find that? The Night King had brought Dalton back from the brink of death, but he still required something to help him fully recover. The Steeles and Kevin promised to do everything in their power to find whatever the Night King needed. The legendary gemstone made by combining gold and water? Kevin asked in shock. Not bad. I see you found some time to study. The Night King nodded his head a few times and then continued his explanation. Normally, gold and water can't mix, but a process was discovered to create a gemstone that contains gold that's been blended with water. The result is similar to aqua aura, but far more rare and valuable, and we have ways to use it for healing. Kevin had been hopeful for Dalton's full recovery until he heard the last part. The gold and water gemstone is the rarest of the rare, and you could never expect to see a sample in your entire lifetime. How on earth was Kevin going to find any so he could help his friend?
Please subscribe to the Pocket FM YouTube channel and press the bell icon for instant notification. Check out our channel for more such exciting shows.